Thank you for joining me for a look at why we're set to relive the Roaring '20s. And I hope you'll enjoy this video, and if you do, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so we can keep you up to date on more of these ideas that will provide a roadmap to prosperity in the decade ahead. The Roaring '20s is probably best known by investors for the crash that ended the bull market. And that crash didn't cause the Great Depression, but it's closely linked with the Great Depression. Perhaps less well known, the decade began with a devastating bear market. But in between, the Dow gained 500%. So it was a great trending market, and as you can see, the uptrend was barely interrupted. Now, the '20s was a time of constant change, and economists have identified some key drivers of change. These were factors that were one-time boosts to productivity. Electricity, the internal combustion engine advances that led to planes being able to fly cross-country, telephones providing instant communications, and then media, mass media, shaping opinions for the first time in a unified and coherent manner. Regionalism died out as a more nationalistic approach developed within the political parties as they adapted to these new communications mediums. Running water in sewer pipes, which we take for granted, were one of the greatest advances, as just the introduction of water into homes increased lifespans by providing clean water, so we no longer had cholera outbreaks as we did as recently as 50 years before. Antibiotics and modern medical techniques also improved lifespans, and changes in working conditions and at home increased the quality of life. So in the '20s, we just had these tremendous advances where people lived longer and better. And we're set up for similar dramatic changes in the 2020s. Demographic-wise, millennials are replacing boomers as the largest demographic group, and they're going to be entering their prime earnings years. So this is going to be basically a repeat of what we saw the boomers do in the 80s and 90s, which was that dramatic 18-year bull market. Education right now is becoming maybe a little bit of a burden. We're going to shift to a more vocational model. Not everyone's going to need to go to college. Not everyone's going to have student debt. That's going to boost consumer spending. In healthcare, productivity is coming to the foreground. We have medical records, we're just not really using them in an optimal manner. So electronic medical records are going to be one of the factors driving advances. We're going to reshape the medical workforce, how healthcare is delivered. Big change in productivity coming there. Transportation, we're also going to see changes from productivity as autonomous vehicles at some level come online. Now, it may not be the flying car of the future that gets you from point A to point B completely hands-free, but it'll have more features. It'll be at least semi-autonomous. Technology is changing systems, artificial intelligence driving big changes in parts of the economy that are a drag on productivity now. And retail stocking operations, legal system, these aren't productivity drivers, but they're going to be in the 2020s. Now, productivity is set to grow because we're at stage 2 on these innovations. Whenever there's a new innovation, there are adverse, unexpected consequences. Distracted driving, more accidents. Computers, internet, great, but viruses and hacking that developed. IT personnel became a cost center. Clean energy is driven by government rather than the private sector. All these things are flipping in the next decade. We're going to have safer cars that's going to have a lot of fallout into other areas of life. Insurance costs will come down, consumer spending will go up, transportation costs will decline. Technology, instead of being a cost center, will be a resource, just like Amazon was able to do, where Amazon saw, hey, we're building this infrastructure because we're selling books. Why don't we take the next step and offer our book selling infrastructure to the whole world? Huge company because they had the vision. Other companies are going to step in and have similar visions in the 2020s. And government did a great job with the internet, for example, with DARPA developing the basic idea of the internet, private sector taking it to an incredible level. That's where we are with clean energy. Government has laid the groundwork, and now private sector is going to jump to the next level. These are massive trends, and they're coming. So, in the 2020s, expect the unexpected. As I talked about in Sovereign Investor, nobody saw that traffic was going to create congestion, and there needed to be a solution like taxi medallions to reduce congestion. We're going to have more of those solutions. Things that we can't even envision now as a problem, we're going to need a solution for. Those are going to be incredible investment opportunities. Now remember, you don't have to be the first in. Amazon wasn't the first online bookstore. It is the most successful. Microsoft didn't create the first operating system. Ford was not the first car company. What we need to do as investors is let someone else rush in, lay the groundwork, deal with the losses, and then pick the winner that evolves. And we're going to be talking more about that in this series. So be sure to sign up for my YouTube channel if you want to be kept informed on our roadmap to prosperity in the decade ahead. Thank you.